Another way we can alter a composition is by cropping an image. We might do this for a number of reasons. The composition doesn't have to be flawed for us to look for an alternative composition. It's important to know that when we create an image, there was many different alternatives we could have chosen. Looking for different compositions is a good way of exploring all of those alternatives. If we understand each variation of a single image, then it will teach us to see those alternatives while we're creating a piece. We will be able to see a wide variety of choices instead of only seeing where the piece is currently headed. We want to nurture an artistic vision that is flexible and open. The process of cropping can involve physically cutting up a painting or drawing, and I understand this can feel like a big leap to make. If the leap seems too great, you could create a copy of the part of the image that interests you, and then you could still retain your original artwork. Although creating artwork is a constant process of creative destruction. With every line you create, you destroy the white space beneath. It is good to embrace that aspect of the process. We can have a clear indication of what the image is going to look like before we take a knife to it. Traditionally, artists would use a viewfinder in order to look at sections of the artwork. A viewfinder is a piece of card with a square or rectangular hole. It doesn't have to be big. The artist would just step closer or further away in order to include more or less of the image. In looking through the hole, they could choose which part of the image to keep. They would also use viewfinders in order to choose what to paint when looking at a scene. That's a fairly traditional technique, and it would be easier to use your camera to take a collection of images and then choose which section you would like to keep. If you're creating images using a computer, I would recommend keeping a copy of your file from before you crop the work. This means that you can always return to your original image if you need to. Being able to step back to a previous part of your process can be helpful, and it's also nice to keep some documentation of your individual artistic process. You never know when a gallery might want to include it as part of an exhibition of your work. So cropping doesn't have to be destructive. It can be a considered and cautious process. We can engage in a lot of trial and error. There is space for experimentation. A good way to practice cropping images is to give a child a camera, and then see if you can crop the images into a better composition. A child is particularly helpful because they won't give you an image that will distract you with its excellent composition. The more flawed the composition, the easier it is to see alternatives.